Hey, Bookish friends, it's your girl Alyssa, and I'm here for the cozy, chill episode that is Bookish Confessions. These episodes to me are so down to earth and relaxed because I'm just reading what y'all send me via Instagram DM and what you also send me in the comments. I try to keep them anonymous. Sometimes I add names if you guys are okay with that. I have a few that are pretty cute, pretty cool. This is also just like a very chill check-in, a mini episode, if you will. Happy Juneteenth. That's when this episode is coming out. I was going to have one of my friends on the podcast, but something came up. So it's just me. But I really want to dive into some books that I've been looking forward to reading. I want to dive into your responses about Bookish Confessions and like how you're feeling as listeners, as people on Bookstagram. I have my phone, so I'm excited to read everyone's responses. I also ask people for books that make them happy. I feel like the world is very dark and chaotic and can be a lot. And there's also moments of joy and like levity. So I want to share those responses as well so we can get both the bookish confessions and books that make people happy. Also, I've begun to record the episodes for November. I'm doing an entire series on like magical, witchy book recommendations from romance to spice to horror. I have some really fun guests coming on the podcast the entire month of November. I start recording them now because I want to be able to compile everything and get it out to y'all as soon as autumn starts. I am a summerween girl. For the folks who don't know, that means that I love autumn. I love Halloween. I love spooky season. I love the autumn candles at Home Goods. I love it all. Also, my birthday's in autumn, so I adore that season. It loves me. I love it. It's a mindset. It's a mental and emotional place. So I want the entire month of November to be about which book recommendations. And I also am going to have the entire month of October be like spooky tales and also maybe some romance in there, a combination of horror and romance. So we're very excited to share that with you. I also have some really fun author interviews coming out in October from Indigenous horror anthologies like Volume 2 of Never Whistle at Night. I had the editors come on the podcast. They were wonderful. Shane and Theodore are so lovely. And then I also got the chance to interview Johnny Compton, and that episode's coming out in October. The King of Horror from Spite House and Dead First. That was wonderful just to be able to talk to him. And that episode will be with y'all very soon. For folks who maybe aren't into the spooky, spooky, scary, scary, I also have a few really fun romance books that I'm excited to talk about that have autumnal vibes. So that'll be coming out in October. I want to combine the scary and the spicy and romantic and the sweet. Anyway, back to the vibes of this episode. I'm going to share some of y'all's bookish confessions that I saw in the comments, but I will keep it cute and anonymous. So, first things first, I see one that says, I start skimming to the spicy scenes if there's too many. I easily DNF a book I can't get into if I'm reading it on KU, Kindle Limited. I thought Verity was actually good, and I'm looking forward to the movie. Oh, and the book Edward is much better than movie Edward from Twilight. Ooh, the tea. Okay, so I would love to hear everyone who's listening to this podcast. Tell me in the comments on YouTube and Spotify. Like and subscribe if you can. Follow on Spotify. All of it helps. Give me a nice little rating. Is book Edward better than movie Edward? My girlfriend's a fan of both, so y'all let me know. That's definitely a hot take. Next, currently reading Bays of Juneteenth, a novella collection, and I love how each story weaves into Juneteenth facts with the love story going on so well. This is from a fellow podcast. So I actually adore this response. I cannot wait to check out this novella collection. It's called The Bays of Juneteenth. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I will definitely be checking that out. It looks super, super cute, and I'm into it. Okay, next. I always post honest review whether I DNF the book or not. Ooh. Okay, so we're posting reviews even if we didn't finish. All right, all right. Also, I did make this post and I put the sound, like the instrumental of Confessions Part 2 from Usher. I had to. I absolutely had to. It's vibe. It's an energy. And the podcast lit and loud. I love this girl so much. They put an Usher meme and I actually adore that. That is so cute. So thank you. Okay. So yeah, are we posting honest reviews if we DNF a book? Let me know. Let me know. I guess it depends on how far you got. Okay. Next. Sometimes things get too tough and I feel like reading ain't for me. Oh, hmm. The silence is loud. Okay, so maybe the world is like a lot's going on. I understand people who like fall off from reading because like maybe they're in school or they, started a family or they're moving. Maybe they don't really have the time or like the space to comfortably read. So I understand that. I can see the perspective. I won't post a review under 5 stars. Oh, okay. So we're not posting like a 4 star or a 3.5. I like Fable, which is like a platform to post about books, similar to Goodreads. You can put like a half a star, which I didn't realize how much I needed that until I got more into reading. Some books are not a full 5 star to me. Some books are more like a 4.5, where it was good, but it's not my favorite book of the year. 5 stars to me are like you could be a favorite book of the year. Yeah, I need to update my ranking. It's been a hot minute. Next, I don't enjoy very long romantasy books, especially with lots of spice. I love my fantasy first and books that aren't repetitive. Okay, so romantasy, where it's like a combination of fantasy and romance. I get why that would be intertwined. If it's just a fantasy book, I can understand why you'd want the romance to be like a subplot or like sprinkled in there, but not like drizzled. Like it's everywhere. I can understand that. I have Siri read most of my books to me. Ooh, okay, 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 okay. I'm a big audiobook person, so I get this. My biggest bookish confession, I read reviews after I finish a book because I don't want anyone else's opinion influencing mine. Ooh, okay. I see you. I see this. I look at reviews sometimes of books, like I'll listen to non-spoiler reviews before I read a book, just so I can get an essence of like what exactly I'm stepping into sometimes. But some books I go into completely blind. So I hear that. I absolutely hate to DNF a book. I feel like I let the book and the author down. Okay. Okay. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But if you're like doing a arc review and you committed to it, okay, I can understand why you'd feel that way. My bookish confession is that I often skip the sex scenes because I feel like they get repetitive. Confession. I am definitely swayed by the Bookstagram community. I always read books based on a cover alone. Rarely do I read the blurb. Oh, and just DNF the damn book. If you're not enjoying it by page 100, you're not going to. And there's far too many books in the world to persevere with that single one you're not into. Clock it. If you don't like it, stop it. I agree with this opinion. I hate holding a hardback, so it makes me not want to read it, but I do love collecting them. As some have said, book trophies. Some of us just like to have the physical copy and you'll get around to reading it eventually. I like Kindles, paperbacks, hardcovers, audiobooks. I love any format, I will read it. I have for some people who really like the floppiness of like a soft cover. You like it, I love it. Yeah. I am not sure this would be considered a hot take, but I would say DNF a book that you aren't connecting with, even if it's just a few pages in. Yeah, if you have the receipt, you can return it. If you bought the physical copy, or you can like donate it to a free library or to like your local thrift store or to like a school if it's appropriate. Like, yeah, if you don't like it, there's no harm, no foul. This may not be a popular opinion, but I don't like real people on the book covers. Same. Yeah, I actually don't like real faces. Like if it was like a photograph of like my face, I would not want my face on the book cover, even though I'm fine as hell. I would want like if you're gonna put a face, it can be like a cute animation, like a cozy, that's fine. But there's something about like sometimes the actors on the covers of these books are not what I'm imagining. So I'm just like, it's clash, and then it's on my bookshelf, and then I can see it, and this person's just staring at me. It'd be too much sometimes. So yeah, I understand that. You don't always want a real person's face on there. Okay. I definitely pick books based on the cover. Hot take. Throwing every deranged thing you can think of into a dark romance does not make it good. I can think of a few books that that have a lot going on that are like not the tropes are not like they're not important to this plot. If you're gonna have a trope, like oh, it's set in a haunted house, we need to be in the haunted house 80% of the time. Same thing where like if I see a trope where it's like unhinged, I actually need them to be unhinged the entire time. They can't be unhinged in the first chapter and then the rest are like a golden retriever. I need them to genuinely be like off kilter. So if you're gonna do it, just do it. I support that. Hot take. There's no need for a romance book to be 500 plus pages long. This got a few likes. Okay. My bookish confession is that if I can't get into a book, I'll only read the dialogue, as that helps me engage a bit more with the characters. Okay. I get that. If I'm listening to an audiobook and the dialogue is done as like a duet where they're talking back and forth, I have found that I read those books a lot quicker. Especially with thrillers, sometimes a description of like the building or like a flashback that's like more of like a red herring. I just want to get to the dialogue because sometimes that's when you can learn like the twist a lot faster. So yeah, I get that. My confession would be that I take great joy in reading, though negative reviews on Storygraph and Goodreads for books that I did not enjoy. Okay, so they read the bad reviews of books they also didn't like. All right, you're connected. This is from another podcast. Bookish hot take. A lot of romantasy would be just labeled fantasy if they were written by a man. Sanderson, Butcher, even George R. R. Martin have romantic subplots, but aren't considered romantasy for some reason. Hmm. Let me know what y'all think about that. Where men are writing fantasy stories that have subplots of romance but are not described as romantasy. Okay. Someone else said, I don't usually DNF. Hardbacks are too awkward to handle. Okay, we're hearing this quite a bit. The hardbacks are not the move. Okay. Maybe book length. All these 500-page arcs are killing me. Listen, some of these arcs are quite large. It's a privilege to get an arc of a book. Like an author trusts you with that. I know some authors have like arc wait lists. Like it gets intense out here, especially if you're a really big fan of the author. But some arcs are very large. And if you're not a fan of the author, or maybe you're not a fan of the tropes, 500 pages is a lot. If you're working or studying, it's a commitment. It's a time commitment. But we also love to read, so it just depends on the person. My hot take. The fantasy subplot is often more interesting than the romance subplot in romantasy, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Give me an ancient magic political conspiracy, prophecies, betrayals, and morally gray queens. The kissing can wait. You know, this this is it. Yeah, love it. I genuinely like I think back to the series that I read, like the Lunar Chronicles from Marissa Meyer. I loved those books. Um, yeah, it's the Lunar Chronicles, right? Yeah, and it was like Sinner, it was Cinder, it was like Cinder, Winter. I'm not putting these books in order. I'm so sorry, but it was like Cinder, Winter, Scarlet. Um, those books were so important to me, and I absolutely yeah, Marissa Meyer. I loved those books so much, and I always wanted them to become movies. Same thing with like the Hunger Games, Clockwork Princess trilogy. Even like Percy Jackson, I can imagine everything in my mind. There were romances in every single one of those books, but like what was most important to me at the time reading those books for like my first big series was the characters that I got to meet along the way, the adventures, the powers that were coming out of people. Like those things were very interesting. Romance is great, but I think you can become too entranced in something and then low key like nothing hits anymore. You have to like mix it up. So yeah, sometimes in fantasy, I understand that the romance subplot sometimes is secondary. It's not as important as like the heart of the story. So I agree with this. DNFing a book the second you don't feel a vibe or connection. I don't care if it's page 3 or the last 20% of the book. When I'm done, I'm done. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. It really do be like that sometimes. So those were some of your responses on my bookish confessions question on Instagram. Thank you for like the 40 people who responded. 40. That was an amazing amount of people. My next question for everyone was tell me about one book that made you happy, like genuinely happy. I just wanted to know if it was like the title of the book, why it made you happy. And here were some folks' responses. Ari writes MVP series always makes me happy. Okay. Fool's Errand is the greatest depiction of animal friendship that exists in literature. I adored Dolly all the time. I'm gonna start like looking up some of these books and reading the descriptions because I actually am very curious. Like, why did you guys love these books so much, if not just the description of the story a little bit? So, Dolly all the time. Dolly all the time is by Annabelle Monaghan. It is a contemporary romance about a single mom who returns to her Rhode Island hometown, enters a fake dating arrangement with a wealthy local man to save her family's house. It's giving like oh my gosh, like Hallmark vibes, but like summary, leading to real feelings and exploring the themes of family, duty, and second chances. The book is described as a fun, pretty woman style story with elements of Cinderella, blending humor with relatable observations about caregiving and life decisions. Okay, this looks super, super fun. Someone said they actually really adored this one. Next, I'm actually reading a book from this author right now. Someone said A Pack for Winter by Alina Lee. It's cute, cozy, and kind of cathartic. I also adored this book. Um, this one was like an Omegaverse book, but it was with like a teacher in a small town, and like I think it was three men fall in love with her. I'm currently reading A Pack for Spring. So it's kind of like a white shoes, but it also has cozy elements and spice. So I'm here for the romance and the like small town adult stories. This is fun. Next, a book that made me happy is The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. Okay, The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. Bookish. Okay, this one's by Abby Waxman. It is a charming contemporary romance about an introverted book lover whose meticulously organized life is upended when she discovers she has a large, unexpected family after her biological father dies. The novel follows Nina as she navigates this new family, her job at a bookstore, and her beloved trivia team, and a potential romance with her trivia nemesis, all while learning to step outside of her comfort zone. It's witty, relatable story, praised as a love letter to book nerds. It explores themes of family, mental health, and opening up to new experiences. Okay, I may have to check this out because you have me in mental health, but also like found family, someone who's very type A, kind of getting out of your comfort zone. I hear that. So this looks actually really adorable. Thank you for this pick. I'm going to say adding to TBR. Okay. Next, what is another book that made y'all happy? Odd Thomas is my comfort series, and it always makes me happy. I heard about the Odd Thomas movies. I have actually never read the book, so this looks super fun. I think this was it was like was this like a fantasy to some extent? Okay, there are a few Odd Thomas books. But this one says Odd Thomas is a 2003 New York Times bestselling novel by Dean Koontz, the first in the series about a young short order cook in a small town who can see and communicate with the dead. Oh, this might be fun for like Halloween. The protagonist, Odd Thomas, uses his supernatural gift to help the dead find justice and prevent crimes, often with the help of his soulmate, Stormy Lowen, and the ghost of Elvis Presley. This sounds interesting. This sounds very interesting. All right. The House in the Cerulean Sea made me freaking happy. Okay. I have this book, I believe, as an audiobook, and I've wanted to read it for a long time. So this is one that I've always wanted to read. But I've just been a little nervous. I've heard people like cry and get emotional about it. I have a whole talk about this on the podcast. I want to do an entire episode about books that made me cry, like why, and books that I have wanted to read but have been scared to because of like vulnerability and stuff. And this is one of them. The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune is a best-selling fantasy novel about Linus Baker, a caseworker who inspects orphanages for magical youth, who is sent to a remote island to evaluate a home for six dangerous magical children and their enigmatic caretaker, Arthur Parness, leading him to question his rules and discover the meaning of family. It is known for its heartwarming, cozy feel, exploring the themes of found family, acceptance, and challenging prejudice, often described as a warm hug. Dang it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna add this like push this up my TBR because this the warm hug is exactly what I want to feel right now when I'm reading. So um I need this in my life. I will definitely be checking this out. Oh my gosh. Next, I just finished When Sparks Fly by Monica Murphy and it was super cute. Okay, When Sparks Fly by Monica Murphy. Oh, this looks adorable. It's like a firefighter romance. Okay. A steamy small town firefighter romance from the internationally best-selling author Monica Murphy about a wealthy heiress, Rachel Henderson, who, after a public breakup, retreats to her family's lake house only to accidentally set it on fire and meet the grumpy, handsome fire captain, Wyatt, a single dad. The book follows their grumpy sunshine and opposites attract dynamic as they fall for each other, exploring the themes of personal growth, found family, and the contrast between city and small life, while delivering the signature chemistry and banter that Murphy is known for. Okay, I actually have a very soft spot for like firefighter romances. I just think they're very fun. So I'm gonna adding to my summer TBR. This looks like a fun, steamy like story to read, especially in the summertime. So to my TBR. 5 Million Moments by the author Real Goldie Williamson. Someone said this made me so happy. And the author actually responded in the comments. So 5 million moments. by Monica Murphy. Okay. What? Oh, wow. This seems to be like a thing. Like this seems to be like an author who's really blown up on social media as well. Because I looked them up and I was like, oh my God, what? Like this is a vibe and energy. So I'm gonna try to find the description for this book. But the author did respond in the episode like comments for this coming up. And I'm like, okay, this on their Instagram they put a little description of the characters in 5 Million Moments, and they said that they like it seems to be an indie kind of story. So, but it seems to blown up a lot. It's really fun. It's 420 pages, 402 pages. I apologize. And it says three sorority sisters, one blue notebook. In 1992, Shannon, oh, the middle name, Melissa and Amy are convinced their real lives are just beginning. At a college in upstate New York, the three sorority sisters become inseparable, sharing chaotic off-campus apartment, late-night pizza, borrowed sweaters, and secrets. They fall in love with the wrong guys, watch Beverly Hills 91210 religiously, and dance to TLC, okay, at college bars, and share a blue notebook where they record their dreams for the future. On graduation day, they promise that whatever happens, they have each other. But in the real world, the lives they plan start looking nothing like the lives they were living. Jobs are harder, relationships are more complicated, and mistakes are made in college refuse to stay in the past. In the 1990s, race forward, the women discovered their friendship can be both a lifeline and the thing most capable of breaking your heart. Told in short, addictive chapters through the eyes of three women, you'll remember long after the book is over. 5 Million Moments is a propulsive story about the people who shape us, the dreams we outgrow, and the family and the friends we knew before adulthood changed everything. Perfect for readers who love Island Helderman, Firefly Lane, and the 1990s nostalgia. Okay, this looks super adorable. What the helly? All right. I I like this. Like I like stories that center around friendship and growth and very much giving like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but in the 90s. Say less. This sounds absolutely divine and so cute. So I'm here for it. Also, there was like 36 comments on this as well. So people seem to really like be responsive. I love this. Next, someone said the entire Kingsman series by Amy Award always makes me happy. Okay, I love Amy Award. So this is adorable. I'm planning on reading a book two of that series very soon. Next, someone said, Dear Debbie, I enjoyed. All right, Dear Debbie. I some folks didn't include the authors' names. So I'm not quite sure which author this is, but the first person who popped up with Dear Debbie was Frida McFadden. So I know that's very much giving thriller vibes, and that book's on Kindle Unlimited for anyone who's a huge fan. Next, a amazing podcast. Shout out to Page Rage said that their book that made them happy was A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I love that book too. I actually have an entire episode here on the podcast about a love song for Ricky Wilde, which is very much giving Black romance, New York setting, wonderful for summertime, dual POV, old soul MMC. He's very down to earth. He's a musician. If you like a slow burn with elements of fantasy in the real world, um, like curses and things like that, you'll really like this one. But it's centered around a wallflower, a woman who actually owns a like botanical flower shop, and the man she meets, and his story as well. Love that book. Amazing choice, Page Rage. That's actually a beautiful story. Next, someone said, Till Summer Do Us Part made me happy because it was such a funny, feel good story. Okay, Till Summer Do Us Part. Let me look that one up. All right. And also, I'm reading the descriptions from like Google, but also from Goodreads. So I'm going to add this to my TBR in real time. I'm doing it, y'all. My never ending TBR. So, what's the description of this one? This one is 432 pages, and it was actually published last year in June. So, the book says, I got what I wanted. I became buddy buddy with my boss in an instant, but the cost will be hefty. Finding a husband by tomorrow. Scotty Price started a new job, and it's a real sausage fest. She's the only woman on a team filled with Brads and Chads, expecting a bachelor pad atmosphere. She is quickly corrected when she finds out everyone is happily married. In an effort to impress her boss, Scotty, she mentions her non existent husband in a company meeting, but eagle eyed Chad points out her lack of a wedding ring. Panicked, Scotty creates a story about her unhappy marriage. Unfortunately for Scotty, her boss has a solution, a one-on-one session with the best marriage counselor in the Northeast, who happens to be her boss's husband. Ooh, okay. With no way out of her lie, Scotty agrees to see him. Frantic, she calls in help with her best friend, who sets her up with his brother, an improv obsessed millionaire. Enter Wilder Wellis. Okay, that's like a tongue twister name. More than happy to take on the job, he teaches Scotty the main rule of always saying yes. But the rule backfires during the session when Wilder signs them up for an 8-day summer marriage camp with all Scotty's coworkers, where she'll have to share a cabin with her way too handsome fake husband. Okay. I have seen this cover everywhere. It's like two pink floaties, and the main characters are floating in them and on this like pink beach. And it looks amazing, but the title is like is between them, like they are far apart. This one I've seen floating around. I think I just get scared because whenever I see books that are have like lots of reviews or like many people have read them, I get scared of the hype. Like, is the book good? I just don't know. And in situation, I trust y'all listeners. I trust the people on Bookstagram who I follow, who follow me, who we talk. So if this book made someone happy, I'm willing to give it a try. Happiness is a beautiful thing. Next, someone said, honestly, most books make me happy. Reading is my escape from real life for a little while, and it lets me disappear into a completely different world. That's beautiful. So many books make me happy. I'll go with The Road to Tender Hearts. Oh, The Road to Tender Hearts. Wow, okay. This one is by Annie Hartnett. It's 384 pages. It came out in 2025. A dark, comedic, warm-hearted novel about an old man on a cross-country mission to reunite with his high school crush, bringing together his adult daughter, two orphaned kids, and a cat who can predict death. From the beloved author of Rabbit Cake and Unlikely Animals. At 63 years old, $1 million lottery winner PJ Halliday would be luckiest man in Pondville, Massachusetts if it weren't for the tragedies of his life, the sudden death of his oldest daughter, and the way his marriage fell apart after that. Since then, PJ spends both of his money and his time at the bar, and he probably doesn't have much time left, but he has 3 heart attacks. He's already had 3 heart attacks. Wow. When PJ reads an obituary of his old romantic rival, he realizes his high school sweetheart, Michelle Cobb, is finally single again. Filled with a new enthusiasm for life, PJ decides he is going to drive across the country to Tender Heart's retirement community in Arizona to win Michelle back. Before PJ can hit the road, tragedy strikes. Pondville, it strikes his town, I guess, leaving PJ the sudden guardian of his estranged brother's grandchildren. Ooh, anyone else would be deterred for this planned trip, but PJ figures out the orphan kids might just benefit from getting out of town. PJ also figures he can ask Sophie, his adult daughter, adrift in her 20s, to come along to babysit. Then there's one more surprise addition to the roster, Pancakes, a former nursing home therapy cat with a knack for predicting death, who recently turned up outside PJ's home. This could be the second chance PJ has long hoped for, a second shot of love and parenting. But does he have the strength to do both those things again? It's very possible his heart can't take it. Oh man, I really want to read this. Why is this kind of giving me the same vibes as the book Little Miss Sunshine? Or that movie Little Miss Sunshine. I loved that movie. That was my first introduction to Steve Carell. So I am very much here for this. I'm gonna let this person know, say less to my TBR. So this sounds absolutely wonderful. I love this. I am also really close to my grandma. I love characters who are grandparents who are living their lives doing their thing. Heck yes. Next, someone said, I really enjoyed The Open Era by Edward Schmidt because it has a lot of tenets, which I love, but it also has some really accurate representations of anxiety. Yeah, and mental health. And the ending was satisfying and realistic. Ooh, okay, okay. The book is called The Open Era. The Open Era by Edward Schmidt. That's one name I feel like I always say correctly. Schmidt from New Girl. Absolutely love it. Yes. Okay. This one is 368 pages and it was published in June of this year. Oh, she's brand new. All right. Love evens the score between two tennis players in this stunning debut romance. Recently turned pro tennis player Austin Hardy has been out since high school, and it's never been a big deal. That is until he becomes the first openly gay man to compete in Grand Slam. Okay, tennis, all right, challenges. Suddenly, being gay is a huge deal, with headlines to prove it. Unprepared for this new spotlight, Austin's anxiety disorder hits a breaking point, and he trips and falls at practice, right next to the very attractive, very talented, and probably straight Diego Cruz, ranked number 2 in the world. The two players start a friendship off the court, but between their flirty banter, mixed signals, and brewing rivalry, mm, Austin is thrown further off his game by Diego. With the eyes of the world on Austin, the weight of the history on his shoulders, and Diego across the net, he must decide if love means nothing or if love means everything as he battles for the trophy during an electric 2 weeks of the US Open. Okay, okay. You had me at queer tennis anxiety rep, and oh, I need it. 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 I'm pulling a Tiger King. I'm never going to financially recover from this. This sounds absolutely wonderful. Um, Last two responses. I'm sorry if you hear sneezing in the background. It's my cat. It's really hard to choose just one. I really enjoyed Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Okay, I've seen the cover of this book and I have a friend who read it. I have not been in my fantasy bag in a hot minute, but I will read the description. And someone else said one was Chase Me if you can buy Heather Francis. All right, first we're gonna read the Quicksilver one because I know the cover with the guy and the teardrop and the butterfly, but I haven't read it. So let's read the description. Quicksilver. It's the first book in the Fae and Alchemy series, and it's by Callie Hart. It was released in 2024. Oh, okay. 624 pages. Woo! This is a fantasy. It is an investment in your time. Okay. What is this about? Do not touch the sword. Do not turn the key. Do not open the gate. 24-year-old Sirius, this is how you know it's fantasy because whose name is that? Okay, Sirius Fane. I'm sorry, is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange powers she possesses, or the fact she has been picking pockets and stealing from the Undying Queen's reservoirs. Picking pockets. It. Why is this low key, brother? Why is this low key giving like powerless? Where it's like the okay, we're gonna give it a chance. We're gonna give it a chance. We're gonna give it a chance. Okay. All right. Stealing from the undying Queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember in the land of the unforgiving desert. There isn't much a girl would do for a glass of water, but a secret is like a knot. Sooner or later, it is bound to come undone. When Sirius comes face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, of legend, of nightmares, but it turns out they're real, and Sirius has landed right in the middle of centuries long conflict that might just get her killed. The first of her kind, okay, we're gonna give it a chance. The first of her kind to thread the frozen mountains of Yavela in over 1,000 years, Sirius mistakenly binds herself to King Fisher. Okay, a handsome Fae warrior who has secrets and agendas of his own. Midnight, I hear you. I'm so sorry, guys. He will use his alchemist powers to protect his people, no matter what it costs him or death. Yeah, listen, girl, if this made you happy, I love to see it. And then the last one was Chase Me If You Can Buy Heather Francis. Heather, I'm wondering like is this the Chase Me? I'm like I don't know. I don't know if this is the name of the author. Chase Me by I'm gonna look up Chase Me by Heather Francis, but if I don't know if that's gonna pop. Okay, yeah, Chase Me If You Can by Heather Francis. All right, that was the full title of the book. Okay. A debut romance novel about the rival storm chasers Salone Michaels and Wild West Talbot, who are competing in a photography contest and end up reluctantly teaming up, leading to an enemies to lovers romance filled with adventure, banter, and unexpected feelings amidst dangerous weather. Oh, it's giving Twister. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I love this. Well, everyone, all the books that I mentioned, I just said them out loud. I repeated them a few times, so I hope you guys end up checking them out. But I hope you liked this episode. I'm sorry if you hear banging in the background. It's midnight. He wants treats. But please like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Spotify. I hope you like this little episode with books that make you happy and your bookish confessions. Have a great day, guys. Bye.